I have come today to harvest our blackberries. Now the problem with harvesting blackberries, and it's a nice problem to have, is that you have to come every day to the farm to harvest them. Because the blackberries, thankfully, they do not come into harvest all at once. They do not mature all at once. They mature even on the same cane, even on the same blackberry cane. They harvest at different times. This berry, for example, is red right now, and this one next to it is almost black. It's going to get ready maybe tomorrow, but some on this canes are ready to be harvested. So I have the luxury of harvesting the berries from time to time. We come with these baskets every day and we harvest whatever blackberries are ready. We cherry pick our blackberries. Now that is important, especially for blackberries and especially for raspberries, these two very perishable berries which degrade immediately after you harvest them, because then you have a lot of time to store them, to take care of them, and also to sell it to the market if you have to. So that is one very big advantage of harvesting the blackberries. One very important thing that you have to remember when you're picking your blackberries or raspberries for that matter is that you need to pick only the ripened ones. The ripened ones like this, these are the ones that are mature, because the blackberries and the raspberries, they do not ripen after you have picked them, unlike some fruits like say the apricots or the plums that often ripen after you have harvested them. These berries will not ripen, so they ripen only on the branch. So you need to come in only when they are ripe and pick only the ripe ones. And how do you know which ones to pick? It's very easy. You need to pick the black glistening ones. These are the ripe ones, and these are the ones that will have some sweetness in them. Although one should remember that blackberries and also some raspberry varieties, they are somewhat leaning towards tart flavor. So anybody who's buying blackberries for whatever reason, you should remember that the blackberries will have a somewhat tangy, somewhat tart flavor. So all of these, for example, I'm not going to pick them because they are somewhat reddish brown. These I'm going to leave them, and in a couple of days, maybe even tomorrow, they will be as black as this. That's when I'm going to come in and pick them as well. So every day we come in and we take a basket full, which is about 2 to 3 kgs, and that takes care of our storage. That takes care of the management of the blackberries. We don't have to worry too much what to do with all the blackberries that we harvest, because some fruits, they come into harvest all at once, if they're, especially if they are the same variety. But on this cane itself, in one cane, you'll have some blackberries ripening, some semi-ripe, some absolutely unripe, and some even flowering. So you pick them at different stages. Very convenient it becomes for farmers to have a situation like this where they don't have to harvest something all at once. And what we're doing over here, guys, is that what Noah is doing over here is he is picking the blackberries for the market, and this is the way we need to package it. This needs to be packaged in these clamshells. These are clamshells, and these are going to be, we don't want to handle the blackberries too much. First we put them in this basket. Otherwise what we would do is we would sort of harvest over here, and then we would have to grade them and then place them in these little clamshells. So we want to miss that step. We want to avoid that step because that means extra handling. So what we're doing straight away is what Noah is doing over here, is that we are directly putting the blackberries in the clamshells, and then we will immediately put them in the refrigerator down below, where they will remain until we can package them further to send them to the market. I think Noah, this is done.
Is it ready?
Could you sort of put them in the refrigerator, please?
Wonderful.
So these clamshell containers, this one at least, this one is 250 grams. The smaller the container, the better it is, because then the blackberries on top will not crush the blackberries below. So we can easily fit about 200 to 250 grams of blackberries. And then these clamshells, they are recyclable, though they are plastic, and they can be easily transported, they can be delivered like that, because delivering blackberries is quite a hassle. After we take it out from the refrigerator, we'll still have to package them in an insulation box, in an ice box, in a thermocol ice box, and then finally send it to wherever we need to send it. We send it as far as Delhi, Mumbai sometimes. And because we send it so far, this kind of a packaging is very important. This is the first stage of the packaging. We select for size, we select for quality, and we put them in the clamshells directly. Thereafter into the refrigerator, thereafter into an ice box packed with a lot of ice packets, and then finally into the market. It's a long process, but well worth it if somebody wants these blackberries. Now, the other very important thing to remember about the blackberries or the raspberries is that they fruit only on the 2-year-old canes. The canes need to be 2-year-old. Like this cane over here, this is a 2-year-old cane. This is why it has all the blackberries on it. Next to it over here, this one is a 1-year-old cane. This is actually this year's growth, or rather this grew only in the last couple of months. This is a 1-year-old cane, and this will fruit only next year. The 1-year-old cane of the blackberry or the raspberry is called the primo cane, and the 2-year-old cane is called the floricane. The floricanes are the ones that are going to be fruitful. That are the ones that bear all the berries. And the other thing to note about the blackberries and the raspberries is that these canes, after 2 years, these floricanes for that matter, they need to be taken out at the crown. Only the crown is perennial as far as the raspberries and the blackberries are concerned. The canes are not. The canes have a life cycle of only 2 years. In the first year, they are the primocanes. In the second year, the floricanes. After they have borne the berries, after we have harvested the berries this year, next year this will become redundant. This will be a cane which we are going to remove right at the base, and that cutting of these floricanes is perhaps going to induce more primocanes, more new shoots to emerge from the perennial crown. So if you notice these blackberries, they tend to trail. My blackberries are really very long, these canes are very long. That's because this variety of blackberry is called the trailing blackberry. The other two kinds of blackberries, one is called the erect blackberry, and as the name suggests, they stand erect and they are kind of shorter. And then we have the semi-erect ones, which are somewhat taller, but they don't trail like this trailing blackberry. If you have trailing blackberries, then you definitely need a scaffolding, you need some kind of a trellis system to support these very long canes. So just a couple of days ago, I pinned these down to these ropes that are attached to this trellis system that we have, training system that we have over here, because otherwise these will trail on the ground and the blackberries on them will trail on the ground, which means that the blackberries will get damaged. So depending on the kind of variety of blackberries you have, you need to train them, you need to build a trellis system for them. Now look at this cane over here. This is easily this is like winding like this. This is looping from here all the way up and then looping back down here. And I've tied it over here. This is easily about 15 feet in length. So this is what we have to do. We need to build a trellis system for the blackberries depending on the variety you have. And if you have the trailing blackberries like I have, you certainly need a trellis system like this. Now if you wonder what this contraption is over here, Noah, you asking me what this contraption is? You're asking me, what this is? So this is actually a biological way of controlling the SWD fly, or the spotted wing Drosophila. That's the name of the fly, the SWD fly. Now what this does is it targets only that specific pest, because our blackberries, it can get infested with this particular fly. So that is the enemy of the blackberry. So we want to target only that particular pest and not target anything else. If you were a chemical farmer, we would come with some kind of a chemical concoction, spray it all over, kill the SWD fly along with everything else. But that's not what we want to do. We want to only target that specific pest. So we have made a concoction like this. This is a pheromone trap.
So what do you put inside?
So we put a lot of things. We put vinegar, we put some kind of a rotting fruit, we put some sugar and some soap detergent. The fly will enter these holes that we have sort of punctured into the bottle, these holes, and it's going to drown in this concoction that we have made over here. Now this is what takes to produce the blackberry, guys. So if you're a vegan, please visit the farm. You know that to produce anything, whether it's almonds in America or whether it's blackberries over here, a lot of lives have to be sacrificed. In the case of almonds, by the way, in America, a lot of bees die, thousands and billions of bees. Yes, they die because they are imported, especially for the purpose of pollination. And because they are imported, and because you have a monoculture of just one kind of a crop, they die. They need diversity. Bees need diversity. Over here, the same thing we are targeting. Now, if you have to give it to anybody, if you have to be a berry eater for that matter, please take that into account. A lot of lives are lost. A lot of lives have to be sacrificed for the production of anything, any kind of food. The ideal time actually to pick any berries, especially the raspberries and the blackberries, is early morning, because that's when it's very cool. But we have to make do with what time we have in the farm, because when you have a bigger farm like this, then we cannot really have the luxury of choosing our time. So today we are picking it when there's somewhat of a sun beaming down on us. But the ideal time, if you can help it, is early in the morning when it's cool, because then the berries remain cool and you can pick them, put them in the clamshells, and then put them directly into the refrigerator. Oh, there you go. That's a big one.
Nice.
Now, this is a very different variety that we have, Noah. If you notice, this variety, the berries are very small, if at all. Look at them. I don't think so. We want to encourage this variety at all. Look at this. Barely anything at all.
Those?
Sorry?
Do we even keep those?
Yeah, we keep these. They are berries, but I'm saying that you don't. The berries are not big at all.
Yeah.
They're very small, as tiny as this. This is how tiny this particular variety of blackberry is. So we are not going to propagate it. We propagate our blackberries through, Noah, if you're also listening, we propagate our berries through what is called a tip layering method, in which we just bury this tip in a pot full of soil, and we have a new blackberry plant.
Really?
Yes, that's how it is. So this, for example, this one over here, or this for that matter, we just bury this tip into a pot of soil, and this tip itself will start sprouting roots.
Interesting.
Okay, and this will, when it starts sprouting the roots, this will become an independent plant, and that's how you propagate. So now because this particular blackberry is not giving us the size that we want, or the quality of the berry that we want. Look at them. Very measly looking berries they are. Look at them. So these are the ones that we are not going to propagate. So this is what we do on the farm. We pick the varieties which are good, and we eliminate the varieties which are not very good for us. So this variety definitely we'll keep it, because we also need a different variety for cross pollination. For cross pollination, you need different varieties. So we'll keep it for that, but we won't propagate it, or we won't sell this particular variety.
Cool. Now, when you put it in the pot and then it grows, do you take the separate sapling out, or?
So it becomes a separate sapling. So what's going to happen is, so this is going to, like I said, it's going to sprout the roots. So once the roots have sprouted, I'm just going to come and snip it off over here, about a feet or so. And then I'm going to take it and transplant it wherever I want to have a new terrace. Like this.
You call it tip propagation?
We call it tip layering method of propagation, yes. This is the biggest berry I found on this particular cane. It's basically pea-sized. Otherwise, this is the kind of size that we want from our blackberries. This is the ideal size. And look at the size of this, pea-sized in comparison.